VanderSloot. He is one of the most powerful and the richest men in Idaho. Most of us know him from Melaleuca or possibly the big 4th of July fireworks program. Of course, held every year at Idaho Falls, draws big crowds from all over the West.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of people come to that thing, and it's a great event. But for over the next few days, we're going to show you a different side of VanderSloot. Nate Eaton joins us now with his very special report. Nate?
Mary, I first began working on this story back in August when I went to Salt Lake City to cover Melaleuca's annual convention. Thousands of people from all over the world were there praising the work of Frank VanderSloot. He's a man many of us know about, and some of us have strong opinions toward. But regardless of how you feel, you can't argue that he's become successful because of his hard work.
A lot of these are ours, a lot of those are boarded horses. So
Frank VanderSloot's life would make a great From Rags to Riches movie.
We've run about 100 mares of cutting horses.
Born the third of 4 children into a poor family.
My dad made $300 a month.
Frank grew up on a little farm in northern Idaho.
My mom did everything she could to save a penny, including scavenging behind the grocery stores every week to get all the tidbits of food and pieces of peaches and carve out the bruised spots.
Frank's dad worked on the railroad and was gone all week, so the kids took care of the farm, milking cows and keeping everything in order. The VanderSloots lived in a tiny house where Frank shared a bedroom with his brother.
My dad had used a chainsaw to cut a hole in the ceiling to make a bedroom for us boys, and it came right down into his bedroom.
Despite the challenges, Frank was happy and didn't realize just how poor his family was until one night when he heard his dad talking with his mother.
I heard him crying once to my mother, apologizing to her how he'd failed her and our family. Well, in my mind, he was a hero. They never knew I overheard that conversation, but it had an impact on me. It scared me. It scared me because I thought no one works harder than my dad.
Around this time, Frank was introduced to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He ended up getting baptized when he was 17, and 2 years later decided to go on a mission. So he withdrew all the money from his bank account except $400 and departed for the Netherlands. 2 years later, he returned to eastern Idaho, where he began school at Ricks College. There, he met his first wife. They were married within a year of him starting school, and both had no money, so they moved into an old house that belonged to her father.
We put a swimming pool under the bed. That was our bathtub. I splurged and paid $20 for a hot water tank, and had a water tank, and I dug a new hole for the outhouse. And I dug it myself, and I thought, what could a bride want? I got a brand new hole for the outhouse.
Frank graduated from Ricks, then went to BYU, where he got a bachelor's degree in business administration. From there, his career skyrocketed. He went on to hold key management positions with 2 Fortune 500 companies. Then, in 1985, a friend came to him with a business proposition.
The idea to start a business using Melaleuca oil was not mine. It was Roger Ball's.
Frank listened to the proposal and liked what he heard, so he joined into the brand new wellness company. But within a few weeks, he discovered many problems.
We ran into several difficulties until it came to a point where we thought we need to close this down and start over.
And that's basically what they did. Frank and his partners dumped the multi-level marketing model and did a massive overhaul on the business.
I lost half the people the first month. Wow. Half of them gone. But our first month in business, we sold $75,000 worth of sales.
Since then, that number has only gone up, selling everything from vitamins, energy bars, laundry detergent, toothpaste, shampoos, and hundreds of other wellness products. Melaleuca has become one of the largest and fastest growing private companies in Idaho.
$859 million in sales last year.
And despite tough economic times this year, the company is expected to make even more. Astonishing when you think it all began with a boy from northern Idaho who grew up with almost nothing and now has almost everything.
It all seems very unreal and quite honestly undeserved. I don't know why we're blessed the way we are.
Well, coming up tomorrow night, we're going to discuss some controversial issues Frank's been involved in, from the Wolverine Canyon windmills to the battle with the Post-Register over a series the newspaper published about scouts who were molested by their leader.
Now, that doesn't mean there weren't mistakes made, and that doesn't mean that there weren't children that were molested, for Pete's sake. But I felt like they were trying to blame the wrong people.
We'll also talk about Frank's involvement with politics and find out if he'll ever run for office. That's tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. For now, I'm Nate Eaton for Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Well, if there's a major issue that affects eastern Idaho, chances are Frank VanderSloot has an opinion about it.
Tonight, the president of Melaleuca speaks candidly with Nate Eaton on why he gets so involved in his community. Nate?
Mary, when the old McDermott baseball field in Idaho Falls was literally days away from being shut down, Frank VanderSloot stepped forward with $600,000 and saved the park. It's now called Melaleuca Field. Every year, Frank spends a lot of money on a spectacular Freedom fireworks celebration that's completely free to the public. He does things like this because he's passionate about where he lives and what happens in his community. Sometimes that means speaking out on controversial issues.
This is pretty much the purebred operation.
Frank VanderSloot loves the outdoors, and he loves to speak his mind. So when a proposed development in Fremont County threatens scenic views, he took out full-page newspaper ads against the project.
I love nature. I love to drive and see the forests and the wildlife.
Not only that, he's been one of the most vocal opponents of a wind farm project in Wolverine Canyon. He put up huge anti-windmill signs and petitioned county commissioners to vote against the mills.
I'm not an environmentalist like an environmentalist that wants to stop everything. It's the forest and the streams that I think we ought to protect.
Frank's also been involved in other controversial issues, but perhaps none as well known as his battle with the Post-Register. In 2005, the paper published a 6-part series about Boy Scouts who were molested by their camp leader.
I do think that Boy Scout thing was way out of line.
Frank wasn't upset the Post ran the story, but he didn't like the way they did it. So he used his monthly community page news ad in the Post-Register to attack the Post-Register. He even hired a law firm to conduct comprehensive research into the story.
Now, that doesn't mean there weren't mistakes made, and that doesn't mean that there weren't children that were molested, for Pete's sake. But I felt like they were trying to blame the wrong people. Instead of blaming the molester, they were trying to blame all the youth groups and the Boy Scouts, and they were trying to blame the leaders, and they're trying to blame their church organizations.
The Post-Register believes it did nothing wrong and stands by the story. No one mentioned in the articles ever asked the paper to issue any corrections, clarifications, or retractions, and the story won numerous awards. State laws concerning child abuse were even changed because of the series. Are you still at odds with the Post-Register over the whole Boy Scout thing?
Not at all.
In fact, both Frank and the Post-Register believe they learned from the disagreement.
I didn't understand the sensitivity of the victims on all this. I've learned a lot, became really good friends, really, really good friends with some of the victims that were involved.
It was around this time when Frank became interested in acquiring media outlets himself.
Soft rock, classy 97.
He ended up purchasing 5 high-rated radio stations from Bonneville Communications.
We're ready to kick off the lunch hour.
And renamed the group Riverbend Communications.
I know that I've appreciated when my kids listen to good music, and I like stations to listen to that offer that.
I declare my intention to run for President of the United States.
Frank's also dabbled in politics, endorsing candidates like Mitt Romney.
Thank you, Governor, for being here again with us.
Jim Risch, and voicing his opposition against others.
Judge Herndon would have been one of those. Kathy Silik on the Supreme Court was one of those. When you get enough opinion that the job isn't being done correctly, you could draw conclusions that we'd be better off to have somebody new in the position.
Are you ever going to run for politics, run for office?
I would be bad at it. I like to be in a position where I can get something done. And they've got, I mean, there's all this negotiations and deal makings and all of that stuff going on that I don't think I'd be good at it.
Well, he does get stuff done. Now, Frank has also been in the headlines recently concerning a lawsuit involving a former employee. He can't comment on the case because it has not yet been resolved. Now, coming up tomorrow at 10, Frank talks candidly about his wife and how they've raised their 14 children.
We don't buy them anything. They got to buy their own stuff. But we've said we'll pay half. So if somebody wants a video game, it's got to be the appropriate video game. But as long as it's something that's not going to hurt them, we'll say we don't say yes you can or no you can't. We say, can you afford it?
We'll also take a look at what the future holds for VanderSloot. Now, if you missed part 1 of our series that aired last night, you can check it out on our website at KIDK.com. I'm Nate Eaton for Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
For the past 2 nights, we've taken an in-depth look into the life of Melaleuca President and CEO Frank VanderSloot.
Tonight, in the final part of our special series, VanderSloot speaks candidly with Nate Eaton about his wife, his family, and his future.
Mary, Frank told me he's always wanted to have a private life, but he has become one of the most public figures in Idaho. His family and his opinions are often in the spotlight.
If you're going to step out and take an active role in the community, part of the price you pay is publicity, whether you want it or not.
Frank VanderSloot knows some people disagree with his opinions and others may not even like him, but he believes it's all part of the job when you're one of the most powerful men in Idaho.
You can't be the largest private employer in town without publicity, and sometimes publicity is bad because people disagree with you.
Frank is passionate about his beliefs and passionate with his work. Are you a tough guy to work for? Or?
I think I'm a pretty tough guy to work for. I'm really candid with people. I expect a lot. I ask a lot. I believe that people are rewarded well. They know where they stand.
Frank feels his employees are generally happy working for him, and that they experience the most growth under demanding circumstances. It's those same ideals that Frank uses in his family.
I believe in teaching kids to work hard.
13 years ago, Frank met his second wife, Belinda. They were introduced over the phone, and Frank was impressed.
I just thought, here's somebody who I could learn from and grow from.
Belinda had 8 children and Frank had 6, and it was only a matter of time before they got married and had 14 kids under one roof.
I found a lady who had no guile, had a tough life. She's very tough, very strong, very good mother.
Although the couple is worth multi-millions, they've always made their kids work for what they want.
We don't buy them anything. They got to buy their own stuff. But we've said we'll pay half. So if somebody wants a video game, it's got to be the appropriate video game. But as long as it's something that's not going to hurt them, we'll say we don't say yes you can or no you can't. We say, can you afford it? And we'll pay half.
And the same rule applies for college, wedding receptions, and missions. Why not just give it to them?
I think that you can destroy kids giving them stuff. I don't think that's the way to happiness.
Most of Frank's kids have grown up and moved away. His youngest will soon leave on a mission. And then he and Belinda will begin to travel more with their ever-expanding worldwide corporation.
There are other countries to open up. There are several new products on the horizon.
In that rare moment when Frank does have free time, you'll most likely find him on the ranch.
I get a chance, this is where I come.
So if you have a stressful day or long business trip?
The cows don't want anything. They don't complain about anything. They look peaceful, and I think that they're happy. Cows are happy almost all the time.
And you could probably say the same thing about Frank. He knows who he is.
All the kids are really proud. They've had to work every day, and I'm proud of them.
My goodness, thank you.
He's passionate about what he believes in.
I suspect we'll keep speaking out if we think things are unfair.
He's grateful for the people around him.
It's been very rewarding to me, the support I've gotten from those in the family and in the community.
And he's excited for the future.
We're so blessed as a family. We're so blessed, and I think in many ways we're so spoiled.
Now, Frank's favorite activity in the entire year is the Melaleuca Freedom Festival. He told me he puts it on to honor war veterans and help everyone remember their sacrifice. Next year, the program will be different. As the voice of the Freedom Festival, Wayne Richards, passed away earlier this year. Frank says the show will still go on next summer, but it will obviously be a little bit different. Now, if you missed any part of our series on Frank VanderSloot, we're going to rerun it on the morning show next week. You can also watch it on our website at KIDK.com. For Channel 3 Eyewitness News, I'm Nate Eaton.
Thank you, Nate.